Yeah, 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 yeah. Boy, check 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. What's good, Regis recipients? How are y'all doing today? Let me know in the comment section. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Regis Reflections. You already know each and every episode we have a different athlete on the podcast. And this episode, we got my dog Owen. Say what's up to the people, Owen.
What up? What up? What up?
Owen, so I first question. How's your mental health on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the greatest?
Ooh. Honestly, you know what? I'm in a pretty good spot. I'd say I'm probably like a 9. I got a little bit of stuff on my plate, but I feel like I'm in a good spot. Like I'm dealing with it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the 9. I'm
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
good. I'm feeling good.
Good. You got any big plans for the weekend? You know, it's raining now. It's calm the weekend. Anything special, particular? You're just working and grinding.
I mean, can't like have any grand plans. Like spring stuff's tough, but like we'll get together a little bit on Saturday, like some of the boys. So we'll have a good time this weekend. But nah, definitely gotta take care of the body first and foremost. These spring workouts are killing me, man. We were just talking about that.
Where, oh my gosh, y'all pray for him, pray for him and the rest of the soccer team, because it's no joke. It's no joke what they be doing. Talking about quads and all that. I gotta pray for y'all. Gotta pray for y'all that was. So, Regis recipients, Owen here is a member of the Notre Dame men's soccer team. So, what position do you play, Owen?
So I'm actually a goalie. Yeah, I'm a goalie.
Would you say, no bias, and just all soccer, would you say goalie is the hardest position in soccer?
Honestly, like I'm not one to like take a big stand on stuff like that. Like I don't love to be like, oh, like this is this that. Like I'm not Stephen A. Smith up here. I don't love these hot takes. I'd say it's tough. It's definitely got certain aspects that are difficult, but I mean there's tactical aspects, there's physical aspects to every position. I would say goalie is definitely the most unique. Like I mean, I feel like I could step out and play in the field and kind of figure it out. I might not be as good, but I feel like I could hang, but I don't think anybody else can hang if they put the gloves on. So I'd say there's the biggest difference, but I don't know if I'd say it's the hardest overall.
Okay. I respect this. He said he gave the political answer, right? He met right there in the middle. I respect that. Wait, so are you Messi or Ronaldo? If you had to pick.
Dude, you know what? So I used to be a huge Ronaldo guy. And then I kind of like, I matured a little bit and I kind of came to the understanding that, bro, it's all Messi. Like the
Really?
things that Messi does, bro, it's
Oh,
not real, bro. The things that he could do with the ball. So
they're both great. I feel like it's really just like MJ and LeBron.
it is a little bit. I don't know, but see with MJ and LeBron, like you could say that there's different eras. Like these two were going at each other like every single year, like for like 10 years. Like that's crazy to me that we got to experience like that level of greatness on both sides competing every year. Like that's one thing that's so unique about those two is that like no other sport got that. So,
That's the thing about soccer. That makes it so much. And then the way Messi ended his career with the World Cup over France, that hurt me. That hurt me. But I respect that. He had to get it though. He had to get it. I respect it though. I
yeah.
respect it. So, Owen, who or what kind of got you into the sport of soccer for you to start playing?
Yeah, honestly, like my pathway into soccer was so unique. So neither of my parents really played soccer. Like it wasn't like, oh, like I'm gonna bring him up like to be this, that, D1 athlete, anything like that. Like my parents just normal people and they just kind of put me into soccer and I was just running around kicking the ball and I loved it and like I mean I'm sure everybody played like AYSO at some point and like at one point they're like, hey, we need someone to be a goalie, and I just remember like putting on the gloves, like throwing myself around, like getting all dirty in the mud. Like I love diving around, like flying through the air, just like throwing my body like left and right. For whatever reason, that was just the most fun thing for me. Like I'd go out in the backyard and like have this like little like metal goal. Like we bought it from like Dick's Sporting Goods for like $100, $200, and like every day, me and my friends would go out in the backyard. I'd just put on the gloves, get dirty, let them shoot on me, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. So, no, I mean, I think honestly, like nobody pushed me into soccer or anything. I just I kind of like every other kid, like got signed up for it because that's what everybody did, and I just fell in love with it like right away.
Wow. So were you the type of like a kid that got played that you played multiple sports like basketball, baseball, and soccer, and you stuck with soccer, or were you just strictly like soccer? You just signed up and that was just like that.
Nah, I mean honestly, like I think I definitely like did like I did it all like at some point. Like I did a little bit of like basketball, a little bit of baseball. Um like in middle school I played basketball and volleyball, like just kind of for fun. But honestly, like I feel like I guess I specialized pretty early. Like I don't know, I'm kind of like a hyper focused kind of guy. So like
Mm.
I fell so much in love with soccer, and I was so like all the time on soccer. Like that's all that I ever thought about. Like from such a like early age, like I like just fixated on it. So yeah, like I definitely tried other things, but like I didn't love standing in the field for baseball. Basketball just wasn't my thing, but soccer, like for whatever reason, I was like, this is it, and so I really stuck with it, and um, yeah, I mean, I devoted like everything was all soccer all the time.
Did you watch any particular soccer player or soccer teams while you were growing up when you were just playing the sport?
Yeah, no, so this is what I was talking about with the Ronaldo thing. So like I used to be the biggest like Real Madrid fan like in the world. Like I had so many jerseys, I had so many Ronaldo, like this, that, and the other. Like I remember I was watching the Champions League final in 2014. And it was the one where Sergio Ramos scored a header in the 94th, like to equalize, and then they went out and won 4-1 in extra time. I just remember I like broke my ankle or something like on like one of the last days of school, and so it was like a couple weeks after that, and I wasn't wearing my boot,
Mhm.
and like I remember Sergio Ramos scored that goal, and I ran down the hallway and like in my like sweatpants, I did like a knee slide like on like the hardwood floor because I was so excited. And I was the biggest like diehard Real Madrid fan. Um, but like I'll keep telling the story because it's actually a good story.
Yeah.
But I loved Iker Casillas, the goalie at the
Mhm.
time. And I try to like model like I still kind of do like I try to like model my game like after him. Like he's such like an inspiration to me. Um, and like obviously shortly after like that year or that season they brought in Keylor Navas after that World Cup because like that Champions League and then the following fall they brought in Keylor Navas to replace Casillas, and I was like, I just didn't love like the way they like he was a club legend. They kind of like mistreated him.
Mhm.
And then after like a little bit of time, I like also fell in love with Keylor Navas because he was similar to me. Like I'm 6 foot, I'm a goalie. Like it's a little undersized, but like these were the guys that were like showing me that like I could do it. And so like I really looked up to those two. And like Keylor Navas got replaced by Courtois in 2016, I think. And again, they just mistreated him, and I was like, I don't know if I can support like a team that's like throwing away like my idols, right? They're mistreating them, and then also like, I mean, bro, Real Madrid was winning everything. I was like, am I really like trying to be a bandwagon? Like that's like me going out and being like, I'm a Warriors fan, I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm like I can't do that. So at some point I was like, all right, like I had no team. Um, after that for a little bit, and I was just kind of like a fan of the sport. But no, like when I was growing up, like it was Ronaldo, it was Real Madrid, like it was do or die all the time.
Wow, I respect that. That's how I was watching just European soccer in general. Is just so electrifying. It's a different atmosphere, a different vibe. You
Yeah,
gotta go out to a game. You have to go out to a game out in Europe. It's the best time of my life. I went to Real Madrid last semester and I went to see Mbappe and Jude Bellingham. The craziest atmosphere I've ever been to in my entire life. It's
yeah,
actually one of one.
it's incredible. Yeah.
Incredible. So, at what age did you kind of started taking soccer seriously and potentially see a future with the sport?
Yeah, so I'd say probably like middle school, so like 7th, 8th grade,
Mhm.
is when I kind of figured out about the concept of MLS Next, or what it used to be called the DA, or the Development Academy. And so basically what that was it was a club soccer league that was there's only 3 teams in the city of Chicago that were competed in this division, and it was kind of like a Midwest um division. So it included all the MLS academies. And so, like, obviously, my dream at that time was, all right, like, I want to play for the Chicago Fire Academy. Like, I want to come up through the academy, and then I want to get signed, like, to the Chicago Fire, like, kind of how they do it in Europe, right? Like, you get into the academy, and then you try and work your way through like 12s, 13s, 17s, 21s, and you get into the first team. Like that was my dream. And so like I started thinking about that in like 7th, 8th grade. I was like, all right, how do I do this? How do I get into the academy? And so like I did some open trials for the Chicago Fire. Unfortunately, that was never really going to work out for me because we've got Gabriel Slonina, who's my same age. He's currently playing for Chelsea. He's a goalie. He's 6'5" or 6'6", and I think he was 6'4" at the time. And then Chris Brady, he's also 2004. He's also my same age. He's now the current starter at Chicago Fire. He was the youth national team, and I mean, it was a stacked lineup in Chicago, and I was kind of screwed. But my freshman year, I ended up making it onto a different DA team. So one of the other two, not Chicago Fire, in the city of Chicago. So there was Sockers, and then there was FC United. And so I ended up getting onto FC United my freshman year, and then played freshman, sophomore, junior, senior with FC United, playing in that academy league, getting the opportunity to play against the best competition in youth soccer. I usually equate it to like AAA hockey, kind of like that. Kind of that kind of deal. So yeah, like I got in my freshman year, but I was trying to get in 7th and 8th grade. So I really started taking it seriously pretty quickly because I knew like long term, like that was my goal, like trying to play pro, like get into the DA, and then now the MLS next. That was the way to go.
Wow. I didn't know like soccer was really that. Like I didn't look the competitive aspect was such big in America. I've heard of it in Europe, but I didn't know like they had all these kind of big tournaments. Was it really soccer a big thing in Chicago, especially your area? Was there like a lot of tournaments or a lot of people for you?
Yeah, so my area, so like in I want to say 2nd grade, it was like one of my buddies, like him and his dad were like, all right, we're putting together a travel team, like, and it wasn't one of these academy teams, it was just like first like local travel team. And like he went around and he literally scouted out. He was like, I'm all right, I'm gonna find all the best like 2nd grade athletes, and we're gonna get everybody playing soccer. We're gonna build a super team. And so like from then until so like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th until 6th grade, like me and then my best, like still to this day, like these are all my best friends. So like soccer was obviously always a big part of my life because I started hanging out with these guys outside, like going to practice and stuff with them. So they became my best friends. And so soccer like bonded us together. So like even my relationship, like the closest people in my life is kind of centered around soccer. So it's always been super important to me. But yeah, we made this travel team. And we played some legit teams. Like we played like the early, like the youngest Fire Academy age. Like we played against them. When it was just like my like local team, like in like my small little area in Chicago. But no, like I mean, Chicago in general is a soccer city. Like it's a big hub. There's so many players that come out of the city. Like it honestly it pumps out so much talent. It's so competitive there. Like I'm so lucky to have grown up in a place like that where you turn your head left, you see kids playing. You turn your head right, you see kids playing. Like there's nowhere you can go without soccer being a part of the culture. So no, I was super lucky to have that, and it was amazing.
Hey, okay, rep your city, Chicago. Okay, Chicago, putting off the map, putting on the map. I just love that, love that. So, could you just touch a little bit on your high school experience playing soccer? I read that you played club as well. So, just talk about how was that experience for you playing high school, playing club, and were there any mental struggles, any mental battles while you were playing at a higher competition at all?
Yeah, no, for sure. So, like I was saying earlier, like with the AAA thing, so Academy Soccer, MLS Next, DA, whatever you want to call it, like those kids, you play club team year round, so you don't play for your high school, which was tough because like I missed out on a little bit of that like community aspect of like showing up, going to class with the guys, and then like going on hanging out after like winning big games and like knowing that like you're winning like for your school, like the guys that I played soccer with, like I would drive 45 minutes to an hour every day to practice, like Monday through Thursday, have Friday off and then games on Saturday, which could be like hour and a half away, like just for even for a home game. So like the community that we had, like everybody was driving half an hour, 45 minutes. So like it wasn't like I was really hanging out with my teammates like outside of practice, like as much. Like, like I was still hanging out with like my club buddies like from back in the day. So like that was tough, like to not have like that community. Like yeah, I built these friendships and like I still talk to some of the guys like still today. Like I mean, I still built incredible relationships with them. But yeah, no, that was definitely tough. Like being a little bit isolated. Like I remember when I committed to Notre Dame, I had like within the first week or two, I had a couple people come up to me like, "Yeah, like I know you play soccer, but like I didn't realize you were like that good. Like I thought you were just kind of like nah, you know, like I feel like I just like it was like such a disconnect. Like people didn't know like what I was doing and like yeah, I
Mhm.
was working hard or whatever, but like people didn't there wasn't that like community within my town and like my area. So like I missed out on that, which was tough. And then obviously like all the things that come with like college recruitment and like worrying about being at the highest level and seeing guys like I talked about before, like the guys on the fire that like I saw were so far ahead of me for so long. I was like, hey, am I ever gonna like catch up? Am I gonna get my opportunities? And
Mhm.
so that was tough, like to know that like I was a late developer. Like I'm 6 foot now, but like I was 5'9" my freshman year of high school, and like as a goalie, like trying to cover, a big goal, like it was tough. Like and these guys who were physically more advanced than me, like I felt like I just wasn't gonna get the looks, the opportunities that I really dreamed about, like playing for the national team and stuff like that. Like I felt that it just felt so far away, and so like striving to chase these goals, like obviously I worked so hard to do that, and that's kind of helped me do that, like helped me push harder, knowing that I had all this ground to make up. But no, I mean it was certainly tough to deal with, like knowing that there was kids that they're farther along than me, and like I was just kind of like just playing catch up, I guess.
So to really just speak on that and speak on the discouragement that people gave to you and just the catch up, athletes kind of feel that they're always in a race and battles with other people, but it's kind of internally. So what were some ways that you kind of like push yourself out of that kind of dilemma of saying like I got to catch up to everyone instead of focusing on your own race? What was kind of like a mental strategy or stuff like that or tactics that you use to really align your focus and kind of just stay on the plan and stay the course?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I think honestly, I'll point us out to the culture that existed within FC United. So that was a club that I played for my high school years, and especially in the goalkeeping department. So like this is pretty niche, but my goalkeeper coach, his name was Stan Anderson. He runs the biggest goalkeeper like summer camp in the entire world, and he runs these like little road shows on the side now too. So he's going out. I think there's one in downstate Illinois, like Urbana Champaign area coming up pretty soon. But he runs this camp. He's a famous name in goalkeeping. Like if you know U.S. goalkeeping, Stan Anderson. But I was lucky enough to work with him, and he created this environment where um, it wasn't like a hierarchy, but it was like a brotherhood. And like as you grew up, like through the academy, through the ages, like you had guys to look up to, and you had like leaders, And so like I think what that environment gave me the opportunity to do was to, believe in myself and see that like the work that I put in got me to a point where people looked up to me. Like I have guys who like I mean, they're going out and doing crazy things. Like they're playing for these MLS teams that I had always wanted to play for. And, they're going and committing to big schools, just like I ended up being lucky enough to do. And like these are like world like literally like best some of the best players in the country, like wanted by like top schools, and like they might be a year or two younger than me, but they would always they told me like, hey, like I like look up to you, like you were important to me and like my development. Like you showed me like how important it was to like work hard and like have high standards and stuff. And it's like, damn, like like they gave me the opportunity to like recognize that what I do is meaningful. It's like powerful and it has a lot of worth. And so like the hierarchy and the system that Stan put in place for me, I think helped my development because he helped me grow my confidence and believe in myself. Because he was able to show me that through helping others and having people, look up to me. And obviously like I took initiative to like try to help out and do those things. But by trying to help these younger guys, like I recognize like, hey, like what I'm doing is like it's like no small feat, and so like it helped me continue to work hard to set that example, but also to recognize that like I was doing something, I wasn't just like another guy. Like I helped me, believe in myself and everything that I was doing.
Wow. Wow. It's good. It's good that you kind of found your confidence and your balance in that people, it kind of shows that people, when people look up to you and everything, it really inspires you and lets focus you that, like, you're doing great. You may not be, at the end yet, but you're still going far. Other people, I, I respect. I love that a lot. So in high school, and what was that commitment and just the college process like, and why did you end up choosing Notre Dame to continue your education and your soccer journey?
Yeah, so I've talked about my recruiting process a little bit. So it's pretty tough, honestly. Like it was during COVID. And like I said, like because FC United, like we weren't like a top tier program at the time. Like we weren't like getting to like late round stages and like the MLS Next playoffs and stuff like that. Like so I wasn't it was tough to get my name out there because I wasn't getting those like US national team looks and stuff like that. But what I had going for me was academics. Like I ended up having some high GPA numbers, and that could kind of help me, um, you know, put my name out in front of coaches and stuff like that. But I was talking to a couple big schools, but it ended up kind of whittling down to only just two. Um, and at the time, one of them had a goalkeeper who was in his junior year, and he was looking at going pro. Um, but they had two juniors and two freshmen, meaning when I would have come in, it would have been two seniors, me, myself, a freshman, and then two sophomores, would have been five goalies. And they were like, yo, like, if he doesn't go play pro, like, we can't bring you in because we're not going to have five goalies. And we believe in you and we think you could come and compete. And we're not going to have five goalies and then three guys who are trying to win that number one spot. Um, and so Notre Dame came along and they kind of had an offer presented to me before I knew, if that one guy was going to go play pro. He ended up playing pro, and I mean, he is balling out right now. Like, obviously, I won't name drop. I don't want to, do anything like that. But he earned his spot, and he's been a world class, like literally world class, like national team caliber guy. And so he ended up doing well for himself, and maybe like if I waited, that I would have ended up there. But no, Notre Dame called to me. Because so Brian Dowd, he was our goalkeeper 2 seasons ago. He got drafted number 3 overall. He's from my same town. We live 10 minutes away. Like, I got coffee with him 2 weeks ago. Like, we're literally still best friends, and we talk all the time. And he's been so instrumental in everything in my career. Like, we would train together. He helped me go through so much. Like, he helped me grow from being that little 5'7" kid to now being at Notre Dame. Like, he helped me train, grow, learn everything about the game. But yeah, Dowd, he would call me up on the phone and go, yo, like you got to get here. Like, you got to come to Notre Dame. Like, and I was like, okay, all right. And then the offer came through. And the academic side of things, and the place that the program was going, the direction we were going to take, I was like, I can't turn that down. I can't wait on something else that might fall through when I have the best opportunity in the world potentially sitting right in front of me. And so I looked at it and I said, Notre Dame, I got to go. I got to snatch it up. I got to grab it.
Wow. It was just right there in your hands. It's right there. Easy.
Exactly. And I was like, I had something here, and it wasn't even comparable. I had to go. I had to take the chance that I had at Notre Dame.
How to do what you gotta do. I respect that. That's real.
Exactly.
That's real. So how was that transition from high school club soccer out in Chicago to now D1 National University of Notre Dame? How was that for you in that transition mentally and physically from that senior year to your freshman year?
Yeah, no, I mean, that my freshman year was honestly the hardest, like, mental battle I think that I've ever gone through, because I really struggled with my identity. Obviously I knew I wasn't going to be the starter because of Dow. Like, he had been starting his freshman year, his sophomore year, and I was coming in. He was going to be a junior, and I was like, all right, well, he's a 3-year starter. Like, it's all right. I'll stay locked in. I'll learn. I'll develop. I'll become a better goalkeeper, and I'll be ready when it's my time. And things just kind of didn't go my way. Like, I felt like I kind of got lost. Like, my confidence dropped. Like, I was getting like these tips and pointers and stuff on my goalkeeping. I was like, I just felt like I came in and I was so confident. I was like, I can do all this stuff. And then I came in and coaches were telling me like this. I was like, oh, like, shit, like, I gotta get better at so many different things. Like, even things I thought like were my strength, they were like, hey, can you do this a little bit better? I was like, fuck, like, I thought I had that,
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, that was really difficult, and, like, um, I had a lot of phone calls with my parents, and I was like, "Hey, like, I don't know if I can do this, like, I know Notre Dame's such a good degree, but, like, like, I wanna play pro so bad, and I don't know if it's gonna happen here, like, I don't know if this is gonna be the opportunity for me." Um and so I had a lot of those conversations where I felt lost. Like I said, like my identity, like I always said I was a soccer player, I was gonna be pro. Like those are things that defined me, that drove me to be who I was. And like at the time it was like I couldn't see I couldn't see those things in front of me anymore. Like I said, like I looked to my left, I looked to my right, and I didn't know where I was. I didn't know where I was headed. I was like walking in circles. I didn't have that um that goal driving me because I felt like I lost sight of it. And so that was really, really difficult for me.
Hmm. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. And we hear so much with athletes, especially that transition to college, they kind of lose the identity because in high school they were the best player, and now in college, everyone is their best player from their small town. So they really lose a sense of themselves and not that confidence. But for you personally, how were you able to kind of gain your confidence back and have a sense of belonging? Like, yes, I belong here at Notre Dame, and yes, I want to achieve my dream out playing pro. What were tactics or whom else did you speak to besides your parents to really get you out of that hole and see the light?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was finding things that set me apart. So like obviously like I wasn't playing and so I felt like, oh, like I didn't have anything that like made me like made me valuable. That was the part of the thing. Like I felt like unvalued, like, maybe by the coaches, maybe by my teammates, just because I couldn't contribute like on the field, like in games. But it was actually the spring, kind of towards spring break. We played a ton of like pickup, just like on our own, like outside of practice time, like because during our 8 hour windows in the spring, like we don't play, we only get 4 hours of soccer and 4 hours of lifts, so we don't get a ton of time on the ball. And I remember Kyle Gennebacher and Bryce Bonneau. So Bryce got drafted. He's now playing at Nashville, and then Kyle, um, he's in a similar situation. He's doing well for himself. But those are two players who they would always, come up to me and they were like, "Hey, like no one works as hard as you." Like, and they really like Bryce didn't even, really say it to me. He just like through his actions, like when we would play together, like he would like I could tell like he like trusted me like on the field by like the way he acted. Like there was things that I felt that I was always really, really good at passing. So like as a goalie, like it's not always like you're building out of the back as much. Like sometimes here at Notre Dame, like we'd go long a lot. Like we played some direct soccer, and I was used to like playing these little intricate passes out of the back. But Bryce knew that that was what I was good at, and he made it known to me. But he always showed up for the ball. Like, he always asked for me. He'd always give me the ball because he knew like that's what I was good at, and he could play to my strengths. And like just being with him like made me like reminded me that like I have something that's unique. And then always going out there with them like it was like a work ethic thing. Like I knew that no matter what happened, like I would always be on the field the longest. I would always be out there every single day when guys weren't there. Um, and like stuff like that just kind of helped me like realize like, hey, like I have something to contribute. Like I can be an example. Like even though I was a freshman, I was like I can be an example of what it means to like to chase that dream. Like and just through recognizing that I could contribute value even if it wasn't on the field, and even if it wasn't like the the things that the coaches wanted to see from their goalkeeper. I could show people that I had something to offer myself and through my talents, and then that helped me, find that light again, find that straight and narrow, to keep moving towards my goals.
Wow, that's good. So I'm glad that you were kind of able to really regain your confidence and feel better and realign your goals and know that you belong and you have a place here. So following your freshman year, going into your sophomore year, were you feeling much better going into your being in that division one under you, having that in under your belt for a year? Were you feeling much better now in that sense, being on soccer team and feeling belonging?
Yeah, no, 100%. And so my sophomore year, I kind of had like a crazy like switch in mindset because I went into it, and I knew like obviously like, hey, this is Dowd's senior year, like I'm not gonna play again. I'm like, okay, like I made peace with that. Like I knew that.
Mm,
But what that gave me was an opportunity to work on myself, improve my own game, and just prepare myself for my junior year. So that was my thought process the whole time. I was like, okay, like no matter what happens, every session is about how good can I get? Can I get 1% better? Can I get 5% better? Can I get 10% better every day, week, month? It's like it was just about getting better, and it is an opportunity to grow as a player. So it wasn't, hey, how do I find myself? How do I prove myself to my teammates? It was, how do I put myself in a position to be the guy when it's my turn? So I was always ready. Obviously, like in case something happened, like I'd be ready to step in. But for me, it was I took that whole fall to work on my own development, and so I was able to find a new goal, find a new passion, and that I guess drive to improve myself became my identity, and so I wasn't lost anymore. I always had something to work towards and something that I knew I could fall back on, and I think that new mentality has been what's been able to push me through not only sophomore fall, but now coming into my junior spring. Like that's been the thing that's been able to push me forward is just how can I develop on my own? How can I be the best that I can be on, off the field, like everything.
That's real. Mindset is key. Like that, have in your sport or just regardless in life, having the right mindset, and then your mindset of trying to get better each and every day just kind of puts you on a different pedestal, and it shows that growth. So that's real. That's real. So I know last year the soccer team you all went to the national championship, correct?
So that was that was 2 years ago. So that was my sophomore year.
Oh yeah, our freshman. So 2 years ago. So could you just? I know. I was talking to some of the other guys. I remember like it was the anniversary the last time Notre Dame men's soccer team won. Rematch Clemson. How was just that overall experience of the playoffs, but also just being in the national championship, and then unfortunately coming short of it? How did you just feel after that, and how did you all regroup to look towards a new season?
Yeah, man. I mean, that was it just felt like it was meant to be. Like that season, like we had gone through so much. Like we played a game where we couldn't even see the lines on the field because there was so much snow. We had a red card in that game. So we played down a man for probably probably a whole full hour, maybe even 75 minutes. 10 men against 11 against Western Michigan, and their whole thing was we're going to be direct, we're going to put balls in the box, and we're going to make it hard on the defending team. And like in the snow, like just like double down on that. Like it was like this is like backs against the wall. Like how are we going to get this? How are we going to get it done? We found a way to pull it out. Because we just believed, like we just knew, and we had this like brotherhood about us. Like that team was so close, and that team I just felt like could do anything. And it carried in after that game, and then after the IU game, which was a close game. I mean, that's our biggest rivals, IU, and we played that game, and we got it all the way up 2 games in a row on penalties, and we just knew like every time we stepped up to the penalty spot for that pen, I knew was going in. I knew Dow was going to give us a save. Like we just believed. And when it came down to the final, like we maybe didn't even play our best soccer until that game. I think we played our best game of the year was that final. And I mean, we had so many chances. The ball just wasn't it. It felt like it was meant to be all year. And at the end of the game, like we realized that it just wasn't. Like we did everything we could, and the ball just didn't fall for us. We hit the crossbar. We had balls saved, and then they had their 2 shots and their 2 goals, and it was too much for us. And it just like it was. Yeah, I mean, it was tough because we knew like we had the talent, we had everything we needed to win that game, and it wasn't meant to be for us. Like it wasn't in God's plan for us. And so we knew circling back for the next year, like. We had a lot of guys coming back, and we were going to be ready to do something similar. We were going to be ready to work hard and to try to just, get back there because we knew, right? Like we knew we could do it again. And we just needed that belief that we had, that camaraderie, that, that family, I guess, orientation that we had the year prior. Like we just needed that again. And we felt like we were going to be golden. We were going to do it again,
That's right. That's right. I know that. Just that feeling like it's I guess meant to be. There's no other option, and it's just you fall short. It's like it's just right there.
Yeah.
I know. I've been in that predicament so many times. But so what is your current major here at the University of Notre Dame?
So I'm actually a psychology major.
Ah,
which is kind of why I was so excited to reach out and kind of do this kind of stuff because I really want to work in sports psychology. Like that's kind of my ultimate goal.
mhm.
So like mental health, sports, all that kind of stuff. Like that's all my right up my alley.
And that's respect. So we locked in. We locked in. We locked in.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
So with being your major, you and I both know Notre Dame academic rigorous school demand a lot day in and day out. But on top of that, on your end, you're a Division I D1 athlete for the soccer team. So how do you balance both school and your sport? And what tactics do you use to kind of help you with that lifestyle?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like my weekdays are pretty like they're pretty scheduled, pretty tight. Like I've got my classes, and in between my classes, I'm trying to do a little bit of homework. Like after practice, I'm trying to do a little bit of homework, but um, I'm a pretty big like I love like I'm really big on sleep. So like I'll try
Mhm,
to go to bed at the same time every day. I'll try to wake up at the same time every day. So like if I have a 11 a.m. class, like I'll still probably wake up at 8 a.m. because I'll get up, shower, eat some food, and then instead of like the time that would be like a 9:30 class, like I'll use that to do homework. And then after class, go get some food. I got about an hour in between like lunch and my next class, a little bit of homework. And then at the end of the day, like if I get back from practice late, like all right, if I don't get homework done that day, that's fine. I'll go back to sleep. So I've been lucky enough to have my schedule where I get my Fridays are kind of like my work days. So instead of being in class all day, I just sit on my laptop and I grind out all my work. And kind of like I was talking about earlier, like I don't I don't go out too much. Like I don't try to, I don't wake up at 1 on a Saturday and a Sunday morning because
mhm.
I was out too late last night, so I get the weekends to kind of lock in on my work, which is nice. And then obviously the last thing is when we're in season, on those away trips, like on the bus, on the flight, in the hotel, like on the day of a game, we got a lot of time to just kind of chill out on our own.
Mhm.
For me, that's lock in, get the work done, and when it's time to, wrap it up for bed, wrap it up for bed, and then move it on to the next day. So like prioritize sleep is number one, and then get work done whenever I can. That's number two.
Wow, that's good. I like that advice. But to touch, I heard on the travel aspect, with being dealing with athlete, you travel and everything like that. And I've spoke to other athletes in Notre Dame. They say, after games, they leave same day or even at the hotels, like they can't do work on the hotel on the bus. But it seems like you kind of find the way. So how is that traveling aspect for you? And then on top of that, doing the schoolwork there, because like most people want to be locked in for the game, but you're doing that still cranking out homework in a little study room. So what's the secret behind that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like part of it's a routine thing because like if I do it for practice, like I feel like I can do it for the game. Like I get up, I do my work, and then mentally like I'm not too tired. Like I'm used to it. I mean, the other thing is like unfortunately I haven't really been like a starter playing a lot of minutes.
Mm,
So I haven't really had to deal with like mental fatigue on a game day. So usually I can get a good amount of work done just because I'm not like exhausted for after the game or like really trying to lock in before the game because I'm not like a high minute guy. So I feel like I'm not really the right guy to talk to because I can kind of get away with that. I haven't really had to balance like getting mentally ready for a game, not trying to like stress out too much over work. So I feel like I've been lucky enough in that sense to where soccer hasn't, made it too hard for me to get my work done. But obviously, I would have preferred to, it'd be a good problem to have, I guess.
that's true. See, it's gonna happen. It's happening. We're gonna manifest it. Speak it to existence. It's gonna
100%.
it's gonna show. It's gonna show. It's gonna type. So rare. So, is your future? Do you want to go pro or do you want to go more into the psychology with sports? What is more of your end goal?
Yeah, so I'd say both. So the thing is like with all professional sports, like you get your career, but you're probably gonna have another career after that. Like even the guys who like play all the way like into the like 40s, right? Like from 40 to 60, like what are you gonna do with your life, And so like the average career for soccer play, I think is 2 years. So like hopefully, I play for even longer than that. But right now, like I'm chasing my dream to play professional soccer. But after that, I want to stay inside the game and I want to stay and do a sports psych. So, I don't think it's one or the other. I think I can do both. Um, so right now, like obviously, like while I'm in college, like I'm gonna set myself up with the educational platform to be ready to go into the sports psych field right after my professional career. So obviously devote everything I can to playing professionally. And then after that career is over, I want to be able to fall back in the education that I've set for myself prior, and then not have to like go back to school or anything because I can just go from college to pro, and then from pro straight to sports psych. Like that's the dream goal right there. Because I want to lay the foundation while I'm still playing in college.
Wow, man, that's good. You got a plan laid out. I respect that. You know exactly what to do, man. I know. Hey, that's real.
I don't
That's
have
real.
to think about it. Yeah.
That's I respect that. I respect that. So, how do you personally incorporate faith not only into your daily life but into your sport as well?
Yeah, no, honestly, I was kind of remiss in myself for not mentioning it earlier, but faith has been honestly like one of the biggest things that I've grown into here at Notre Dame. So obviously, like being like a Catholic institution and having a lot of faith-based practice going on, and people who are really devout Catholics and Christians around me, it was like just an opportunity to grow and learn something new from all those guys. And so I'll say like my teammates, they brought me into we call it NDCA, so it's Notre Dame Christian Athletes. And so what NDCA is basically just a community within the athletic department of all athletes who come together. We do a little Bible study together. Um, and what that did is that just opened my eyes to like the Lord, to the gospel, to Jesus Christ. And it showed me, again, like I was saying, like it showed me that light. It like gave me something to work towards and look towards. Because even when I wasn't playing, even when things were hard and I didn't have confidence, I was able to fall back and know like, wait, like this isn't all the worst thing that's happening to me. This is all because God wants something for me. And so faith really got me through a lot because it gave me peace, knowing that God was with me always, and he was always going to do something to put me in the best position possible, because he loves me more than anything. And so if I can just trust him and love him, I knew that no matter what happens, I was going to be okay. Right. Like, even though obviously I didn't play this season, like knowing that God has set up a plan for me to go and pursue my goal. Like I know that I can still play professionally. I still want to do that. And, I hope that that's in God's plan for me, but I know that I can devote myself to him, to the gift that he's given me to play this game that I love. Um, if I put everything into that, I know that he'll take care of me and he'll put me in the best place that I need to be. Hopefully, for my own sake, I hope that's playing pro. But if it's not, I know that's where I need to be, and I can trust in God that He wants that for me, and He will put Himself, give myself the best, I guess, relationship with Him
Mhm.
in that way.
That's all. Trust in God and leave the rest up to Him. He'll do the rest. He'll do the
Exactly.
rest. So one last question on before we wrap things up here, and this has been great. Like I wish you're going for it. This has been the best ever. I appreciate it. So, what advice would you give to listeners and viewers on their mental health journey?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I wanted to say this earlier, but like I was just talking about like faith. Like I think that trusting in God can be so important. Finding His voice, listening to His voice, and hearing Him can be such a comforting presence, and He can give peace to your soul, knowing that you can rely on Him. Like that's so important for me. So I think trusting in God, truly trusting in God, and giving yourself over to Him can be so important. But the other thing is just to look at things from an outside perspective, and to find something to work towards, find something to understand that, um, you know, everything we go through is for a reason, right? So that goes back to the faith part, but there's always a positive aspect to going through something. There's always a positive aspect to an injury, right? Like, what
Mhm.
is that going to do? Is that's going to show you how hard you can work, right, to get back to rehab that injury. Maybe you need time off. Maybe you need time away from your sport to focus on other things, focus on relationships, focus on school, to focus on just growing yourself as a character, as a person outside of sport. Maybe that's what you needed for the injury. like not playing. Maybe you need time to focus, to dedicate to your craft, to show yourself that you can work hard, you could do all these things, and you could persevere through anything. Maybe that's why things go wrong, right? So you just have to find some type of mentality, some type of thing to look towards to drive you. Like you need to find that light to something that can drive you forward. You need to. It's kind of like the horses in the stables. Like they put the blinders on.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you need to block everything out, but you don't need to have the blinders, but you need to know where the finish line is, right? So you need to have something that you can look at, you can run towards, and say, okay, that's where I want to be, and that can help guide you. And I think that faith can be one of those things, but other people can be one of those things. And I think it doesn't all have to come from you. There's people to rely on. There's other things to rely on, but you got to find your why. You got to find something to look towards and to go towards.
Wow. Just drop the gem, drop the knowledge, man. Y'all gotta tap in. Y'all gotta tap in when you say the faith, for real. Well, Owen, thank you for your words of wisdom, your advice, your story coming in on this episode. I really appreciate it. Regis recipients, y'all heard it from my dog Owen right here. Man, this man is a greatness right here. Greatness. Any last words, Owen?
Nah, man. I mean, this was awesome. Like, I appreciate you taking the time. Like, it was actually nice. Like, talk through all these different things again. Like to kind of see how they all like play together. Like, it's cool for me. Like, like spending time to talk through this stuff, and helps me set myself up, to go forward and to keep chasing my own goals. Knowing where I came from. So it's actually beneficial for me too. So I appreciate that.
Of course, man. We're praying for you for the season, for your future goals, going pro, being the best sports psychologist. I know you're going to trust in God and it's going to happen. We appreciate your story and advice, of course. And Regis recipients, remember, it's okay if you're not okay. You matter. It's your boy JD, and I'm out.